Come on in, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Coach Marsha coming to you on this beautiful Thursday morning. And I'm just coming on here because this is what I do on Thursdays and Fridays. This is what I do on Thursdays and Fridays. And today we're going to be discussing locating yourself, locating yourself, you know. So just come on in, just come on in. Come on in. I wanted to play this song of my friends, my sister, my friend Ronelia, because I just love her music and I just be psyched because I know a full live real artist, like for real, for real. It's not even for play. Okay, that's not the song that I'm looking for. I don't know what the heck that was. It was not. Yeah, here we go. This is one of her new songs she just released, but she has a variety of songs. I don't know. I would have to say one of my all-time favorites of hers is Worthy. You know, yeah. So I'll probably play that for you all tomorrow. Victory is always mine. I'm not a singer, but sometimes when I'm listening to music, like, hey, like you can't tell me I don't be working with a Yolanda Adams voice or Ronelia Sings voice. I be hitting those notes. But I'm not gonna do it for you all today because I'm not in that zone right now. Um, but just listening to this song is just it is fitting for this topic today, discussion that we're gonna have on today. One day at a time, one step at a time. Victory is always yours. Victory is always mine, guys. It's so important that in this journey of life that we take, that you tap into that thing, that one thing, that thing that no matter what comes your way, as the song say, that no matter what comes my way, I will lift my voice and say, victory is mine. It's like when there's no hope, it seems like it's a hopeless situation. It seems like it can seem like you're bombarded with failure episode after failure episode after failure episode. You have to be determined to hold on to the thing, the very thing that is going to bring you life, that is going to bring reconciliation, that's going to bring restoration in your life, that's going to allow you to position yourself to recreate or reach or change the narrative of what's going on. You have to plug in to a source that is going to replenish you, that's going to give you life. So, and with that being said, guys, so we're going to go on into the message on today, you know, and I always try not to, and it might seem that, okay, then she's telling us the same thing over and over and over and over again. And you know what? That's okay. Because sometimes you might not get it the first time. It might take you 10 times before you get that one thing. It might be something that I include in the conversation that is going to I got to charge my phone up here, guys. It might be something in that conversation that is going to like trigger, like, okay, then I get it. Yes, that's what I needed. That's the very thing that I needed. That's the very conversation that I needed her to talk about on today. You know, everybody knows my story. For those who don't know my story, how I got to this point is because I decided one day that I was going to use the United States Army's checkbook to be my personal checkbook, right? And as a result of that, I ended up getting caught, because I was stealing. I ended up getting caught and I ended up in the correctional facility at Miramar Brig in San Diego, California. I ended up going through what some will call trial, but it was court martial in the military court system, in which I received a 34-month sentence. I received forfeiture all pay and allowances, reduced in pay grade from E6 to E1, and I received a bad conduct discharge, right? And so as a result of that I ended up with a felony conviction. Anytime you have a general court martial, I ended up with a felony conviction, right? And so during this process, I had to find myself because I did not know how to navigate life outside of the United States Army. Because in my opinion, I consider myself a lifer. I was supposed to retire from the United States Army as a retired command sergeant major, right? That was my end goal. But however, that was cut short, right? Because of decisions that I made. And so coming back into civilian world, here I am, a veteran who's now back into civilian world, but I got bad paper, right? I have negative paper following me, you know? And so I was like, what do I do with that? Because in my mind, I truly believe that if I did my time, I went through the rehabilitation process that the judicial system had designed, that I can have a start over, a true start over. But I found that what I envisioned was not what the judicial system, in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, is not what they intended, right? Because in my opinion, my process from transitioning from the military correctional facility coming back into civilian life, I was set up for failure, right? It's as if the system was designed for me to reoffend, go back in, and start this process of not breaking the recidivism rate, right? And so I can remember one of my good friends, Tony, he mentioned that, it's like I was giving my life away, giving my life to a system on a layaway plan, right? And so as a result of that, I didn't want to give my life away to a system on a layaway plan. If anything, I was going to a store to put something on layaway to purchase to get at a later time, right? And I didn't want to give my life to a system that I got nothing in return from it. And so in my transition from home, I believe that my God gave me a system to be able to implement in my life and share with others, called I Am the Game Changer. And the Game Changer is focuses on lifestyle strategies, which helps people go from a point of failure to success, right? And we have three focuses. The first focus is recreate. The second focus is reposition, and the last focus is recreate. Now, mind you, when a person has entered into a place of failure, and I'm going to, for the sake of description, I'm going to utilize incarceration as that point, right? So when a person goes into a point of failure, how do they transition back to success, right? How do they position from, a point of I have this stigma on me to now want to shake it off, to now want to do something a little bit different, right? And so the first thing you got to do, you got to change your narrative. So you got to recreate a narrative. And in some cases, it might mean that you have to leave an environment, go to another environment so you can start over. Because sometimes, depending on what it is that you are wanting to change from or shift from, you have to do extreme measures not to go back to doing that thing, right? You have to go through extreme measures. You have to be intentional about your new outcome. You have to be intentional about changing the narrative, right? And so I became intentional about changing the narrative of how I maneuvered, but I didn't know how, guys. It was no blueprint set out there for me to say, Marsha, this is how you go about living life in the United States of America as a convicted felon, right? And so some would say, hey, Marsha, but that's just a title. That's just a phase. That's just a chapter in your journey. And don't let it bother you. It's not the end of the world. Well, announcement, it was the end of the world for me. Maybe your journey was not like mine. Maybe it meant a lot to me how I departed the United States Armed Forces. Maybe my identity was wrapped up in that. That's another course. When your identity is wrapped up in something and is taken away from you, how do you separate yourself then? And see, I've been going through that identity crisis, right? I was going through that identity crisis, separating myself from something that I believed was a ingrained in me, right? And so, not mitigating the fact that I am a former soldier of the United States Army. I will forever be that person. But, however, that's not the only person that I am. I lived in that was the only person that I was. I didn't see myself outside of that, right? And so I had to get to the point where I saw myself outside of that. And believe it or not, guys, it took me back to the point of who I am, which brought me back to the word of God. So I had to really be like, who am I? And it took me back to the book of Genesis, where I know that I am created in God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Spirit in their image, in their likeness. Bam. Okay, then. So, Marsha, you put on a part. The army was something that you did, but not who you are. And that was so key for me. And it took me a couple of years to get that. It did. Because that's just how I was wired up, right? That's just how I was wired up. So I had to learn a new way of thinking, and I had to learn who I am through my creator, not through my parents. Not through my parents, because they didn't sit me down, Marsha, this is who you are. And Marsha, this is what life is going to do. And this is how life is going to be. No, I didn't have those type of parents. I didn't have that. So, however, I had to learn on the way, and a lot of things I'm still unlearning from my childhood, right? And so, with that, God said, hey, you know what, Marsha? What we're about to do, we're about to recreate, right? We're going to change his narrative. We're all going to change his narrative. And secondly, he said, we're going to reposition. I got to reposition you, doll. And then he said, so, and simply is showing me how to move from a dark place a place of desolation, a place of failure, a place of rejection, a place of resentment, how to remove my place from that place in that low point of failing, right? When you're in a place of despair, a place of desolation, a place of rejection, a place of when you of isolation, you know, being honest, you're in a place of failure. You're in a place of, I don't know what the heck to do. You're in a place of how, how do I do this? How do I come out of this hole? How do I come out of the sunken place? Because it seems like you're falling, and you never land, right? And so, and what I do, what I had to go through, and what I'm going to help others go through is repositioning. Repositioning ourselves to come out of that, because failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. And I'm not saying that failures will never come. I'm just saying that that is not an option. It's not a resting place. It's not a final place. It's not your final destination. That's what I'm saying. Okay. And then we go to lastly, re-equipping you. So once we've changed your narrative, once we reposition you, and reposition it, it's mental. It's not, I'm taking my body from this place and I'm moving it over here. It's that I'm changing your mindset. I'm changing how you're thinking, because, yeah, changing how you're thinking. In re-equipping, it says simply, I'm giving you strategies to climb out that thing that's going to reinstill hope, right? Repositioning and re-equipping work hand in hand. Because as I change your mindset, hope is being pushed in. As I change your mind, hope is being pushed in. So when hope goes in, that means desolation goes out. That means regret goes out. That means failure goes out, right? Because you're repositioning. I was listening to First Samuel. I've been listening to First Samuel for about a couple of days now. And I was listening to Daniel. And then I began to think about what right before Daniel was anointed to be king over Israel, God's chosen king, right? God's chosen human king. And I thought about his process and how he got to that point, and how his relationship was built with God, how he trusted God for everything, from being a shepherd boy in the field, from fighting lions and bears, from being in charge of something that one would think that is insignificant, the lamb, but so precious, right? And how when he came, daddy said, hey, go check on your brothers and give me a report, and go take them this food while they're on the front line battling. But even his brothers lost heart from the giant Goliath taunting him, tormenting them, right? They lost hope. But here you have this little lad, this young lad, who is this uncircumcised, whatever he said, y'all know what I'm talking about. But the confidence that he had facing someone that's way bigger than him, that talk cash money mess, right? And they can back it up, right? They can back everything up he was saying. But here you have this young lad, like, okay, what he giving for us to kill this dude right here? He's like, oh, okay, I got that. I got that. That's mine. I'm about to go kill him for y'all. I got it. Because not only that, I'm going to cut his neck off. Mind you, ain't had no weapon, ain't had no sword, ain't had none of this, right? But he won that fight because his mindset and his heart, right? If if all you know is defeat, if all you know is failure, if all you know is, woe, it's me, if all that you know is struggle, if all that you know is pain, if all that you know is abuse, If all that you know is hatred, you have to position yourself to know something else, to do something else differently than what you've always done. See, on this journey of entrepreneurship, before this, all I knew was work, right? All I knew is that I had to go to a 9 to 5 to be able to survive, to make ends meet, right? So I had to learn different. I had to surround myself with individuals who were doing it differently, right? So as a result of that, I'm intentional about meeting you all every Thursday and Friday. I'm intentional about investing in my entrepreneur journey. I'm intentional about going to knock on doors where people don't know me, right? And say, hey, I have this program and I know that it will benefit your organization. And this is how. Hi, I am Marsha Martin, and I saw that you're in need of such and such, such and such. And I have this program, and I believe that it will benefit your organization. I would like to schedule an appointment with you. I would like to see if I can get on your calendar, but we can discuss what I have, you know? And so, and everybody doesn't say yes, everybody doesn't call back. But however, my friend Ashley Marie of Word Unite bookstore, she says, show up. I'm going to show up every time. So if I don't show up, won't nobody know who the game changer is? Won't nobody know who Coach Marsha is? Won't anyone know about you are still a veteran, right? Won't nobody know that, hey, you know what? Over there at I Am the Game Changer, do y'all know she says one of her foundational scriptures is Isaiah 43:18-19, where it says, remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old, because behold, I am doing a new thing. Can't you perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert, Marsha. And it's not only for you, but it's for everyone that's attached to you, everyone that goes through this program. I decree and declare that today in the name of Jesus. Because he gave that to me for me. And I am walking that thing out right now, guys. I'm living it. I am living my best life ever as a result of following these strategies that God has given me with 3 focuses of the game changer, which is to recreate, reposition, and re-equip. My narrative had to change. And how my narrative began to change is the first strategy that I believe that God gave me and for me to give to you all is to start. And start is in that process, a start is simply locating yourself, right? You got to locate yourself because I can't want to be all the way over in Las Vegas, right, today, but I got to figure out what are the steps to get from Texas. How am I going to get there? Where am I going to stay when I get there? I got to locate myself. And I'm going to share, I'm going to read this with y'all. A game changer must first locate their starting position and envision their goal, right? How do you introduce? It's something that's like envision, how do you introduce yourself? After giving your name, what's next? Does your job, friends, associates, family, circumstances, etc. define who you are, right? And that's why remember I told you earlier that I could not function effectively in the civilian world because my identity identity was attached to United States Army. So when that was taken away from me in the way that it was negatively, which had a long lasting negative effect on my life, I didn't know what to do with that. Even to the point I stopped telling people I was a veteran because I was afraid of the response when they found out how I transitioned. And to be honest with you, in some circumstances, I still am. So, and I shared it to let you know that I had to work these processes, these strategies that I was given daily. I have to, I had to daily in my mind recreate the narrative. I have to daily envision my goal. Like I had to keep it before me. You know, I have to, like I have this thing on one of my boards. It says I have to remind myself that God chose me. You know, it's a joy to be chosen. It's a joy to be chosen by God. He chose me. He chose me for a time as this. Because then I had to go back to the part where you told me, hey, Marsha, hey, daughter, I'm doing a new thing. Now it's spring forth. Now, right now, like now, not later. He said now. And so that's my hope ingredient right there. He says, behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? That's key. Do I not perceive it? All of my buddies, all of my battle buddies, all of my sisters in arms, my brothers in arms, all of them can perceive what God is doing in my life. They can perceive and see and have the vision of the new thing that God is doing in my life, or that is being positioned in my life. But if I don't perceive it, it will not go anywhere. If you don't perceive it, it will not go anywhere. It is so important, guys, that as you journey into this next phase of your life, especially like this is like the halfway point, right? What is it that you want to do that you know that you should be doing it? That you know that a new thing is happening, that you know that now is springing forth, that you know that you don't perceive it and you might need some help locating that thing, your starting position. It might be you're down, and you know how we get in the block when we run track, right? You're ready, you know, fingers laced, foot placed properly. You ready, shoulders relaxed, or however, whatever your position is when you're in the block. You know, you practicing your jump off, you know, when you're in the block before, you know, we get on the march, get in position, you know, you're ready. You're jumping around, you're loosening out those hamstrings, you know, stretching those calves, getting them arms ready, you know, that moment that you've been practicing for, rehearsing all your life for that moment. You ready? You're in the starting position. Are you going to sit there? Or are you going to hear the go? You know? So it's so up to us. And what is your response to locating yourself? How do you introduce yourself? How do you view yourself? What is your goal for this second half of 2022? I know what mine is. And I have my tribe, you know, because one of the steps to becoming a game changer is like, you know, you got to step boldly, right? Step boldly, and then you surround yourself. Like you have to surround yourself. The seventh step is surrounding yourself. Surround yourself with, and I say success, right? Because once you done got all the way to here to the eighth step, you got to surround yourself with people who got your answer. And then because imagine, like, I just talked about getting in that block, right? You running, you close to that finish line, right? And every part of your body aches. You might want to quit. Like every part of your body is aching. You might want to quit. You're like, I can't do this. Like, what's the one thing that keeps you going? Think of a track meet, right? It's the cheers and it's the support of those who shout, you can do it. You can do it, right? It's so cheers. I was watching this clip on Facebook or Reel or something. But this young lady, she had got behind. She was good, and she got behind. And I saw her teammates run across the field, right? And they was running, they was shouting, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. She walked them down, y'all. She walked them down and won the race. So it's so important that you surround yourself with people who's gonna like, hey, you got this. Hey, what was that task you had to do? Let me see it. What's your deadline? Friday? Okay, then I expect for you to send it to me by midnight, 11:59, like it's a paper that's due. That's when you have to have people surround you that's going to support you. Even the fakers. Like, come on, girl, you got this. Like, even though they might not mean it, but hey, it'll push you. It's so important, guys. You gotta push, you gotta know, you gotta know, you gotta know that even if you don't know, do it. Walk it out. Even if you don't have the support that you believe that you should have, but you don't. Keep doing it, because if it's a God thing, God told you to do it. Walk it out. I can remember Paul Bronson at my first author award show with Camouflage Sisters, and I met him. He gave this in his he was a keynote speaker, and he was talking about he had a matchmaking business, and he would go on YouTube and talk about this matchmaking business, right? And in this matchmaking business, he would have videos that he do every, I don't know if it's once a week or every day, I don't know, on YouTube, but he had one viewer all the time, right? And then he got a call one day, and it was Oprah's assistant, Oprah Winfrey's assistant. And he thought it was a scam, like, oh, whatever, hung up the phone. But she called back. He answered, and it was legit. Oprah Winfrey's assistant. So he ended up being an employee of Oprah Winfrey's, right? But he didn't do direct deposit. He wanted a signed check. So you have Oprah Winfrey name on that check, right? I would do the same thing. Get the check, take a picture of it, put it in a frame, like I work for Oprah Winfrey, right? And then but then he said he had the couch in his office because he wanted to jump on the couch like Tom Cruise did, right? But and Oprah wanted to see who was this individual that wanted to not do direct deposit but get a check, right? He was an employee of Oprah's, like, and I share that with you, and I'm reminding myself, keep doing it, keep doing the videos, because you never know. You just never know who it is that is your viewer that can be your open door. So I thank you for listening to the replay on today. I thank you for your time on today, for listening to me. And know that Don't quit, y'all, for a quitter never wins. Don't quit. And surround yourself with people who's going to cheer you on, especially when you done faltered, you done fell behind. Don't lose hope, because those very voices you hear is going to be the inner strength that you need to shift gears, to take it to the finish line, guys, and expect to win, because all we do is win, 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 right? And so, with that being said, I'm going to go for today. And I just want you all to know that, like I always tell you, if nobody told you today, you are important and your life has value. Have a great day.